I know somebody who paid 100% for the house.
What if we had to do that for work?
Nobody has to do anything. Like, what's the point of working? Like, what's the point of getting the job so you can work when you probably be dropped dead tomorrow? Another thing, don't ever put their name on the house. Anything.
You heard it here first. Yes, you can.
If he's vaccinated.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, I always get people on with different perspectives and see what we can take to help us find the kind of person we want to attract out there. So without further ado, please welcome Shahara to the show. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me, Kit.
How are you doing today?
Very good.
Yeah, going from the cold. It's a bit windy out there.
It's really windy, yeah.
It's a bit windy out there. It's a bit calmer in here. A little bit warmer.
Nice and cozy.
Thank you. We try to make people feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So just to start, tell us your name, what do you do, and you don't have to say your age, but give us your age range if you want.
Okay.
And then one thing about you that a guy should know if he wanted to take you out on a date.
Okay, well, my name is Shahara. I'm a law student.
Okay.
And I recently got into men's rights activism.
Wow.
And I'm in my late 20s. And what was the question?
One thing a guy should know about you if he wants to take you out on a date.
I don't know. I really love deep conversations. So I'm not really just surface. Yeah, if you really want to attract my attention,
yes,
sincerely be interested in deep conversation, then that's it. That's like, and I'm a massive introvert.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think people think that people who are introverts are just antisocial. I think, but really we're selectively social. Because you can see us like we're really bubbly and stuff in the right company.
Yeah, 100%.
And but we can be really deep people, but in the right company. So
yeah, is there anything specific you know like to delve into when you're talking to someone and getting to know someone?
I don't, it might throw people off, but if I can be completely honest, it can be like
be honest.
Like conspiracy theories and things like that.
Okay.
So I don't want to even use that because a lot of them have come true. I'm just going to say, but that can be considered as quite deep for people.
Sure. And
I've been looking into it for years, so I have a lot of knowledge. It's not just so far. So, but
do you believe in Illuminati?
The thing is, even that there's a lot of Illuminati means illumination. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's the thing. People can take good things and turn them around.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. People are like, oh, the Illuminati is bad, and like the whole that actually is a good sign. Right. But it's just bad people can take good things and turn them. So that's it.
That's very.
So I'll just leave that to side right now. But
that's good. No, I hear that.
That's just an example of
Yeah.
where it could go sometimes.
We could delve straight into. Look, we're here to talk about dating, relationships between men and women. Do you think it's harder dating today? Do you think it's easier?
Yeah, because I don't think people are honest when it comes to like dating, and there's this misunderstanding there. Yeah. And unfortunately, it could be people aren't being really honest about if they want to be short term, long term. They don't take the other person seriously. It could be one person who's sincere, yes, and the other one isn't sincere, and they're just miscommunication. And one of the biggest things about why relationships break down is because of miscommunication. That's why in the very beginning I think people need to be completely honest, put everything out on the table. Yeah. Even the really highbrow questions or taboo, whatever.
Like what?
It's just like for a mature audience.
Yeah, so we're honest. Yeah,
okay, like intimacy and certain things that people like doing. Yeah. Because I come from personal, not personal, but a friend of mine has said that, oh, this guy, he told me he likes this. That's what he's expecting. And I was like, no, that's really good. At least he's being mature and he's not hiding anything from you. Yeah. So that's really healthy. Yeah. And look, you could take it or leave it. You want to be with him or you don't want to be with him.
Yes. Yeah.
And before you catch feelings, because the moment you catch feelings, that's it. Everything gets messy. Everything gets hard. So it's really important in the very beginning to be very clear. This is what I'm about. Take it or leave it. Yeah. And I don't think people are doing that.
Yeah. Do you think I do think there's a little bit of an element of when somebody really likes someone though, they can feel they can change their mind.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Do you think people can change their mind? Or?
No. I think that's the fantastical thing. That's actually part of love, because you you don't want to accept that they can't change.
Yes.
There are aspects of the person that you do like, so they kind of override and blind you of the aspects that you know, not so like, but you ignore it because you like them so much.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure you know this, but the things that you ignore now become very big later on.
They become very apparent once the glitz and the glam of the things that you admired about them, you kind of get used to and you acclimatize.
Exactly. And then they start irritating you and annoying you, and it's like, what happened to the loving relationship? It's seriously like, now when he chews, it annoys you and things like that, because deeper down it's something else.
Can you just stop eating your food?
I know, so stop chewing, stop breathing.
Stop breathing.
Yeah, but
have you ever had that, you know, because we all learn through our journeys, right? Have you ever had it where you were really into a guy and maybe, you know, there are things you kind of ignored because this guy was, you know, you were really into him? Yeah. Tell us about that experience.
And then I was like, the thing is, he's a really good person. He's a really, really good person. But there's just some aspects, like, he didn't really care about people. And you know, I'm a really big advocate for, you know, like, humanity and having empathy for everybody and stuff like that. Like, I don't just want to care about my own household.
Yeah, sure.
Like, if anybody needs any help and stuff, naturally we should be there for other people. And I don't like, you know, screw everybody else. Just want to take care of my family. And that's the thing that I didn't like about him. But I thought I could kind of talk sense to him. And when I saw that, he's just solid. He's just like that. I have to accept that.
Yes.
And I don't want to waste my time and his time. So, yeah. Before things get even deeper, you know? Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit of a paradox that can happen in relationships where two people get together, and it's usually this way around, I have found, where the woman is expecting the man to change, and the man is expecting the woman to never change.
Yes.
Over time.
Yep.
How do we mitigate that? How do we address that? Because I think that happens quite often.
Yeah, and I've seen that with some of my friends and stuff. I just think we have to be realistic about that. You know, everybody knows that. So why are people still falling into the fantasy of like, oh, I can change them, and she's always going to stay like that? Again, I think a lot of people are living in these delusions. It's not really delusion. They know the truth.
Do you think they know?
I think at the time they know that they're infatuated and they're in love.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they're completely unaware to can't sense. You know, if you just tell them in plain English, like, you can't change them. Look at the patterns, things like that. You're telling me it's going to sound like, you know, Mandarin all of a sudden. Like, they're gonna know. Yeah. But again, it just depends on the person. Are they ready to make that decision? No one can force them. You know. What do you think is
one delusion that maybe women might have, and what do you think one delusion that men might have?
I think women have this delusion that it goes on both extremes. I think they're so good in terms of everybody wants them, and they don't have to change anything about them. And I think the other extreme on the spectrum is that women think they're just absolutely horrible. Like some women, you know, like, nobody's going to want me. That's why they don't bother with their, you know, appearance, or they don't bother with their, you know, and if they're getting healthy. Right. So you have somebody who thinks they're too good for everybody, and you have somebody who thinks it's too bad for somebody. Yeah. So I think that's for women.
I hear that. What do you think about men?
I don't know. I have to think about that.
I think I've got one.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I wonder what you think. I think that a delusion of men is that they will be loved unconditionally. And I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I think that Chris Rock said it best. You know, the only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. And I think a man is loved on the condition that he provides something, and it doesn't have to be financial, but it could be some kind of. He has to bring some kind of value to the table, whether it's his intelligence, whether it's whatever purpose he has, whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's the mission he's on, and I don't even necessarily think that's a bad thing. But I think a lot of men think that a girl will love them and choose them unconditionally. But the actual fact is, a lot of times to qualify as a man for a woman, there's a burden of performance Does that make sense? What do you think?
So are you saying that they're not aware that they have to have some sort of performance?
I think when they get into a relationship, they think, oh, she'll choose me no matter what because she says that she loves me. That she loves me for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's true.
No, I don't think that's ever true.
Yeah.
Like, for anybody. You know, even like I'm maybe like parents maybe can love their children unconditionally.
I think parents is the exception.
Yeah, parents is the exception because with a spouse or like a girlfriend or boyfriend or something, it's just, they can always walk away. That's the thing. A parent, that bond can never be replaced.
Yes.
Nobody can ever replace your parents.
Yes.
But you could always get like a new husband or new wife and stuff like that. So that role is always replaceable.
Yeah.
I think people need to remember that.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's conditional, isn't it?
Yeah,
Love.
it is. I guess it was all conditional. I mean, everything is conditional, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because if you're with someone and, they don't make you feel good, then it's probably a matter of time by the time you do leave, I guess. Yeah. Is there something you'd like to bring to the conversation? A question you'd like to bring up, or?
I don't know. Like, from your experience, the same question to you? Like, would you do dating's worse now, or?
I think there are different obstacles now. I think there's some things that are easier, some things that are harder, but I think the obstacles are different for men and women. I think they have different challenges in dating today. Okay. Yeah.
Different and both equally difficult.
Maybe I'm biased because I'm a man, but I think it's harder for men in dating. Not that women don't have their own struggles, but I think it's much harder for men to date and get into a relationship than it is for women, because I think as a woman you always have options. They may not be the options you want, they may not be your top choice options, but their options are still there. Whereas for men, the majority of men don't have options, and it's even more skewed. Like back in the day, the 21-year-old guy who's at uni, would easily, end up choosing the 21-year-old girl in his class, and they'd marry and have kids and all of that. But now we have social media, internet, we have access to so many people. So the 21-year-old boy who maybe wants to take out, the girl in his class, she's getting attention from the 30-year-old hotshot lawyer from London, has his own place, his own dog, his own car.
His own dog, sorry.
Yeah, he's got a dog. Everyone, we love dogs. And, he can take her out on these experiences and these nice holidays or for nice experiences. And the guy at uni, who's just got a bunch of student debt, probably still lives at home.
Yeah. No dog.
No dog. Maybe a hamster.
Maybe. Oh no.
Maybe a hamster from when he was 15. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
And I know the best he can do is take her to Nando's, and if she doesn't know either of them, right, on a personal level, it's like, well, who's she going to give an opportunity to?
Yeah.
And we just see this happening more and more. So yeah, and especially because a lot of dating has gone into dating apps.
Yeah.
Right. And I think women only swipe right 5-10% of the time.
That's mad. It's mad.
Yeah.
That is, and considering how many people are on those apps,
I think that's probably why though.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you have an abundance of options, you feel you can be way more picky.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? True. And there's no right or wrong about it, but it's just the way it is.
That is actually really true, because I remember once going into a store, and there was too many options for pajamas. I was like, man, I just want one. But I was actually there picking.
Yes.
Right? Because I was like, because there's so much option. Why don't I can browse.
Yeah.
Even though I just need one pair. But there was just so many different kinds, different fabrics. Not to objectify human beings, but that's why, because it happened to me. I was just like, oh my god, just like, this is so stupid. But then I was actually there, looking at everything. Yeah. And I think that's the same as dating app, because there's just so much variety out there. Yeah. In your fingertips. Yes. You have the privilege of whether the person likes you or not. I don't think people consider that. They just have the privilege. Oh, I like him. Oh, I like her, but do they like you? You have to remember that there's a human being behind that screen.
Yeah, it's true. They did this experiment. I don't know when it was. It would have been within the last 10 years. where they had two different groups of people. One group of people, they were choosing, it was like what shower gel they wanted. One group of people had a choice of 5, and one group of people had a choice of 30. And they found that the people who had a choice of 5 were more satisfied with their options. Because the people who are from the group of that had 30 options, they're wondering, oh, maybe there was 1 or 2 that was actually better for me.
Yep.
And now they're looking at it like, oh, I like that I have this, but I'm still wondering maybe there was something better.
That's so true.
And I think that's just the case with, I think that's a case with a lot of people in dating, but I think mainly women, because they have the abundance of choice.
Right. Yeah, I mean? Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
it's like looking at the psychology, like how we are just overwhelmed with choice.
Yeah,
how are we gonna? If we make, first of all, it's gonna take a while to go through every single option and then 100%. Choose, and then you're always gonna be wondering about the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you mitigate that?
How do I mitigate that?
Yeah, like how do you are you in a relationship? You'd have to say.
Yes, I am. I'm in a long distance relationship. Yes.
A long distance. Okay, so how did you you're an attractive woman, right? You have options, right? How did you come to the point where you found someone that you're like, this is the person I want to choose?
Because the thing is, I couldn't find anybody I can have deep conversations with, and it got to the point where I had to cut my friends off because I cared about things, and I'm not overwhelming. I promise you, I'm not an overwhelming.
You don't see it right now.
But the thing is, for example, my friends.
Yeah.
So when they ask me like, "Hey, what you doing?" stuff, and when I generally like, because the research I do,
yes,
I can get really down sometimes. I'm not always. I'm very upbeat and everything,
yeah,
but if my friend asks me how are you doing,
yes,
I have to then either lie just for her sake, so she doesn't have to do the burden of being a friend,
yes,
or tell her the truth, like, hey, I feel really sad.
Yeah.
And so and then I when I saw that they actually didn't care, and that deep down I'm just like, look, you're my friend,
yes.
Okay, so even if you're not into what I'm into, at least be there for me, because I've had a negative reaction,
100%.
And the fact that they couldn't even do that, personally for me, I was just like, I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry. And I did it in a very, not gentle way.
Sure.
And I explained why. And then that was that. So I'm the same with kind of dating, kind of the same in terms of conversation wise.
Of course.
And I was just like, I think I'm just too deep. and I was like, maybe I'm the problem and things like that. And but then I met my other half. I don't know what to call him. Oh, sorry, I don't use boyfriend. I don't know why.
Partner, other half.
Yeah, other half. But he was an independent journalist, and I really loved his work. And I didn't have any romantic, intentions or anything.
Yeah.
But naturally, things blossomed because we had this just genuine connection of things, and we were just talking like, oh my god, and it just turned into something.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most beautiful and healthiest ways, honestly.
Yeah.
One of the ways that people can, because you have a genuine connection of something, you both care about something.
Yes.
It could be anything, carpentry, gardening, whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
But because you both are enthusiastic, it draws you together. That's the glue.
Yeah. So do you think, was there, when you first met him, for example, was there any element of looking at him and being like, oh, I find him attractive, or was there any element of that, or did it all really just come from the similar passions you had and the conversations you had?
My other half is, he's a lovely person, obviously.
Yes.
So I say this to set an example. I was just like, oh, I really want a tall guy, right? And
don't they all?
I know, and I'm ashamed.
Don't be ashamed. Like what you like.
No, because I have to be honest with you. I once got this a marriage proposal by this really successful guy who's a PhD student, like on the top of his game and all that stuff.
Were you together or no?
No, it's like it was like.
Sorry, let me stop talking. Carry on.
Yes, sorry. I got a proposal where it's like kind of arranged.
Right.
Not forced. I want to make that clear. Arranged marriage can be successful.
Sure.
But it's arranged like a suggestion.
Yes.
So that's basically it. Like, hey, check this guy out. That's it.
Yeah.
So I got this proposal, and then but he was like 5'6". At the time of ignorance, I said no, and it's only because. But the thing is, actually, I'm 5'5". I know I'm an idiot, but
you wear heels.
But I know I wear heels, so like 5'7". But what happened was actually because as shallow as I was, And I admit that I really was. I was shallow because. But the thing is, once I said, oh no, I don't want to go ahead. I didn't even tell him why, because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. He became like, oh my God. He was like, how could you? You have to give me a reason. I was like, no, I don't. It's like, it's just not going to work out. And then I saw a character, and I was like, oh, okay. So it's not even. It's bigger than the height.
Sure.
So my other half, though, he's 5'6", and I can care less. I'm actually very happy around. I don't care if I wear heels and stuff, because my focus is on his character, his personality.
Yes.
I'm so like in love with that. Really, that he's not like that big. Like come on.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be honest. Okay, for the people, when
Always
when you're lying down, you're basically the same height.
It's very true.
It is true.
You're the same height lying down. For all you short fellas out there, when they say something about your height, you're the same height lying down.
It really doesn't matter. Yeah, it really So that really was a massive thing for me, because I was like, wow, I really am in love in terms of for the right reasons.
Yes.
And I don't care. I didn't even know what he did for a living for about a year, because we were talking.
Yeah.
In terms of, he did independent journalism on the side, but he had a main job that I did because I didn't even care to ask.
Yeah.
And then I found out a year after.
But the first time you met him, did you look at him and be like, I find you attractive?
No. Sorry, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. When he was 5'6", I was like, oh, no. But he's a good looking man, but it's just the height thing that I didn't find attractive.
Sure.
But then I got to know him.
So how did you allow yourself to get to know him, even though the initial kind of meeting, height-wise, you would have been like, no. What was the difference with him than the other guy?
The difference with him was his character was more gentle, more human, and it wasn't like the other guy was kind of stuck up as well. Like even like I said, like the height might have been the initial thing, but then all these other things started coming out. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm not a fan of his character.
So let me ask you a question. Your current boyfriend now, if he was who was suggested to you, right?
Yeah.
Would you have looked at him and be like, oh, he's 5'6"? Do you think you would have rejected him at who you were then?
Yes.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm really ashamed to even admit that, because it's I can understand women want a taller person.
Yes.
But I think characters, trust me, in the long run, that's what you want.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think it's I always say there's nothing wrong with, like, if you like tall guys or whatever, there's nothing wrong with it. But I think if you're looking for a relationship, just have your priorities in order.
Exactly.
So be like, okay, this is my list, but instead of height being number 1, maybe it could be number 5.
That's exactly what. That's
you know what I mean?
The rationale.
You can still like it.
Yeah.
Just prioritize other things.
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I saw a clip, and you don't have to share this, don't want to, but I have to ask you on it. I saw a clip of you where you were expressing about you're no longer meeting men one-to-one. Tell us about that.
Oh my God, man. Yes. So I got this message from a gentleman, and he was like, we were having really good conversations and things like that, and as cringy as it is, because I'm literally no one, but he was like, he's a fan.
Oh.
He kept calling me his fan. I was like,
don't call yourself a no one. You're someone. You're someone.
I was just like, oh, that's like kind of cute and all that stuff. And then he goes, hey, would you like to meet up for coffee? And I was like, oh, okay, he knows I'm a relationship.
Right.
And I'm very upfront about that, obviously, publicly, everybody knows. But so I was like, oh, if he knows that, things should be fine. And we met up for coffee and stuff. And the little voice in my head was saying, no, this is something else. And I was like, shush. He didn't express anything. So we are just friends or whatever. And yes, we met up. And then he said it was a date.
Right.
And then I was just like, ooh, I don't know. Because the pretense was we're friends.
Yeah.
And then it became something else. And the reason I'm saying is I don't want to meet men one-to-one, because you're going to catch feelings like something's going to happen. And I don't want to take the risk.
So I hear that. So my question is, do you think men and women can be friends?
I think really rare occasions, and it takes two strong people. I agree. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Because the thing is, I think a lot of people took it negatively in terms of, are you saying men only have? No, I'm saying even women. even women. And I don't want to say just because I'm in a relationship, oh yeah, I'm completely, you know.
What is the not the Biden rule? Who is it? Who was Trump's vice president?
Kamala Harris.
The Pence rule.
Oh.
Mike Pence. So when they went to office, he said he will not meet with women. One-to-one. Either his wife has to be there or he won't meet with them. Yeah.
I mean, you have to do that because, like I said, it gets messy. You know, you could have two just well-intentioned people, like, hey, you know, whatever, and then suddenly, you know, something starts bubbling inside. You get butterflies, and you're like, oh my god, what's happening? No, I'm just like, for the sake of the other person as well. Like, I care about you, you know, and I take it seriously. Heartbreak is very serious. And you know, it's such a waste of time and energy and life and stuff.
Yeah, so, I think that if you're gonna have heterosexual man and heterosexual woman be friends, I think there has to be established boundaries. I think that's what it is, and I think if we're being honest with ourselves, I think there has to be established boundaries. You don't need that for same-sex friendships, unless you're gay. But like, if it's like a sex that you're not attracted to, right, you don't really need those boundaries the same way. Whereas I think for men and women, you know, I think because there can always be a potential for something to because let's be honest, how many affairs have happened in the workplace? Like, we're just colleagues and, you know, blah blah blah. Like, you underestimated yourself. Like, you need to be real about the human nature. We all crave intimacy, and we're very social beings, and those are the doorways of the. It's true. No, it's very true.
So
let me get one of these questions up. Let's talk about the truth about marriage.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think marriage is today, and what do you think it's supposed to be about?
Marriage, the actual word, people look back, it's actually merger. So it's when two businesses come together and they merge. And you will only find that out, the reality, if you go through divorce court. Because they treat you as if, they even say partners. That's why I kind of don't like using that term.
Oh, I see. It sounds very business related.
It sounds very business, because that's actually, that's what the lingo that lawyers will use sometimes. They'll say your partner. I'm just like, look, I think people are taken advantage of when it comes to marriage. Everything's lovey-dovey, and there's doves, and there's ice sculptures and napkins, and everybody's happy and stuff. And if it goes down the line of divorce, you're going to realize that it's not a loving environment whatsoever. Unfortunately, yes, it's the justice system, but it's very biased against men, let's just be honest. And it's, like I said, it's a loveless environment. They only care about money and assets, things like that. Just material things, I'll be very honest with you. And whoever has the best lawyer wins, or whoever has, you know. And it becomes a very, like, disgusting environment. It's a very horrible environment. And I think people need to learn the truth about marriage, because the truth about marriage is that it can lead to divorce. I think people they think, oh, I love this person, they will never leave me, but yet they still go down divorce. This happens so many times. We only be a fool to not look into the truth about marriage. So marriage can lead to divorce. And like I said, you would only realize it's a business merger once you go through a divorce.
So would you recommend that most people, if not all people, before marriage should have a prenuptial agreement?
I would actually say that you shouldn't even get a marriage contract.
You shouldn't even?
You shouldn't get a marriage contract.
I don't even disagree with you.
Yeah, no, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
So is it be like, so people get marriage like traditionally but not legally? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Are you saying that they do or they don't?
Well, I'm asking you, is that what you're proposing?
Yes. Right. Yeah, because at the moment in the UK, and this is something that we need to preserve, is that traditional, like non-legal, just like, I don't know, like yourself and a young lady with a few witnesses, and you're married. And maybe you signed something contract, but it's not like a legal, in terms of the eyes of the state, they don't recognize it. And that way your affairs and everything, you're more safer to do it between you and not have a third party, like a judge, just completely like he doesn't even know you both, right?
Yeah.
So
what would you say to people who say, oh well, I don't intend to break up with this person, and getting a prenup is like so unromantic, and it just, what would you say to people who would say getting a prenup is just kind of having the intention to fail?
No, it's just being it's like you're protecting yourself. Honestly, if my other half, and hand on my heart, the creator's my witness, if he said, not that I'm going to ever get a marriage contract though, sure, but if he came up with a prenup, I completely understand. Adult to adult. I've worked hard for the things I have.
True.
He's worked hard for the things he's had.
Yes.
We don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
I might have to leave, or he might have to leave. Anything. I think we think like, oh yeah, we're sorted. We know. No, you have to be like, it's better to be safe than sorry. I think if you genuinely love the person, you will sign that prenup. Actually.
Well, some would say if you genuinely love the person, you wouldn't ask for one.
Well, they're a fool. Because the current climate we have is like, look, everybody's ripping their heads off. It's you know, true. like I said, two loving couples, like they might as well be in a boxing arena.
Yeah.
In the courtroom.
Yeah.
You know, some of them. So, I mean, you're being naive. Like, I'm sorry if you're living some Disney fantasy world.
Yeah.
Because you're only harming yourself. Get the prenup, be an adult about it, get it done, and then you don't have to think about it anymore.
So, I get what you're saying. So, I'm going to give you a scenario that's going to challenge that.
Okay.
Tell me what you think. Man and woman get together, fall in love, they get married, they have kids. Okay? Let's say he out-earns her quite significantly, and that luckily he earns enough that she doesn't have to work, right? Okay. They have kids and she's the primary carer, right? And he's the main breadwinner. Let's say they're together for 20 years. No, let's say 15 years, right? They then decide to get a divorce. Her argument will be, well, I took time out of work to help raise our kids, and because I was a loving partner, that helped you succeed and earn the money you got while we were together. Mm-hmm. Is she not entitled to some of his wealth?
As long as it's some.
Right, not all.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you give them an inch, they'll take it a mile.
Yes.
And the thing about the thing is, there's so many factors. It's like, well, how many children was it? Like, how much in your how many hours in your day did you have time to do something else? You know, didn't you have any interests and hobbies of yourself? You know, to kind of explore. And I think easily people are like, oh, I did all the housework. I did. But really, if you do, you know, it's not like you're doing that 24/7. You had time to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
But again, it goes case by case. But if a woman genuinely looked after her husband at the time, genuinely looked after the house, you know, so he didn't have to worry about stuff, then for her to get, because the initial thing about that is so a woman could have some funds to, you know, be stable. Yeah. Because she relied on her husband. Yes. So in the practical sense, it makes sense. Yes. But now it's become obviously to completely destroy and obliterate him, from my experience of what I've seen. Yeah. So that's the thing. So we have to tread very carefully. If a woman says, oh, I deserve this, because we have to look at how much actually is, like, is it 60-40? Is it I don't know if I can actually say it's 50-50 sometimes. It's again, it goes case by case.
It is case by case. I did a show with a friend this couple of years ago. He won't mind me saying. Bless him, he was going through a divorce while doing the show, and obviously the house that they lived in, I think they were together for like 5 years, no kids, and he paid for 90% of the house. I think she only contributed like 10%, if that. But obviously when they divorced, she got half. Yep. It's just the way it is.
I know somebody who paid 100% for the house.
Really?
And she got half, yeah.
God.
Don't ever put their name on the house. Anything.
You heard it here first.
Anything, unless they've actually contributed.
And that goes for men and women, by the way. Like, if you're a woman and you own a place,
absolutely,
and you move him in, don't put his name on, because then the second you put it on, it doesn't matter what he paid or didn't pay. He's entitled to half. Exactly. And no one can say anything. It's like a brick wall. Yeah. You know, it's impenetrable. Yeah. So just yeah. I hear that. What have you learned about dating men today that maybe you didn't know, let's say 5 years ago?
Okay, first of all, I don't have that much dating experience.
Okay.
But what I can say is that I never really thought about this, but seeing how much like erratic the female behavior can be sometimes, and seeing that
you learned this dating men.
no, but like but that men's like their wants are very traditional.
Right.
Like every single man that I've met, however many or however little, they've all had the same thing. Yes, they have different, like they're into, one can be an architect, one can be an engineer, but in terms of family life and peace of mind, they all want the same thing. But women, like, they don't know what they want sometimes.
No.
I've seen. So what I'm doing, I'm comparing. So my interactions with men, they're very like linear, like they want the same things all the time. So there's no qualms about that.
Yes.
Which I like.
Yeah.
But women, we don't know in terms of their mood and stuff. So
I hear that. Would you say what you want today is different to what you wanted, you know, let's say in your early 20s?
Oh, the only thing that in my early 20s, I was still very the same thing. Like I was very into deep conversations. I wanted a man who cared about other people. Sure. Had that, you know, did something in terms like journalism or like activism, something. Yeah. That hasn't changed. But the only thing that changes is like the physical things. Like I honestly don't care if he's how tall or how short. I do not care.
Well, you care about his appearance to a certain degree.
Yes, I do. I have to say, but if somebody has a good character, and they're kind of average looking, they're amazing.
Would you say amazing? What do you mean?
Like as in like everything about them, you just find endearing.
You'd be attracted to them?
Yeah, you'll be attracted.
Okay, what if he's less
Are you talking
average?
about like Shrek?
I don't know. Listen, there are plenty of people out there.
Yeah.
Everyone comes in all shapes and sizes, all looks and feels.
Yeah.
Right? So what if he's less than average but amazing personality? You're telling me you're still choosing him?
I have to meet this person. Everybody's different.
Everyone's different. That's
Everybody has a different flavour, aura. So yeah.
Did you have a type before?
Oh man, yeah, like tall, like dark, handsome, very stereotypical.
Tall and tall.
Yeah, no, I know, and I'm very ashamed of that. But
Don't be ashamed.
I know, no, but I think it's because I
then it was a priority for you.
Yeah, it was really stupid though. Really, if you think about it, like, what about his like the person? You know, I might as well just marry a surfboard and just like have it there. You know, I need to engage with the person.
Arms or legs, but he's tall. He's tall. Look at it.
Like an ironing board or something, just like standing there. Like, I need to engage with this person, and at that point, height wouldn't matter.
I hear that. I mean, you know, I guess the argument is a lot of people when they're in their early 20s, not that they wouldn't want someone, but like they're happy to kind of have some fun experiences. They're not looking to settle down.
Right.
Yeah. So they'd be like, their priorities are different. Where you know, it's really often that as people get older, especially as women get older and they want to have kids, have a family, all of this, that their priorities change into the kind of people that maybe they choose, and from their experiences, because like, I've been choosing this kind of person for so long and that doesn't work.
Yeah. No, I mean, but you're forced to compromise.
Say more.
Like as in, if let's just say, because in the beginning you're like, I'm attracted to this person, but then you're not getting like the lasting love relationship. Like obviously you're not sticking to that person for a reason anymore.
Yes.
So as you get older, you learn and you're getting more refined of your type and things like that. I was like, actually, and like I remember meeting this guy and he's like, I don't even care if she's ugly. Like I just want peace of mind. I want somebody with good character.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
And I understand it. Yeah. Peace of mind is completely priceless.
Yeah.
Instead of having a really attractive woman go all the time, like I always say, I don't even want to be around that in terms of my friends.
Sure.
I can't imagine man coming home from a very hard day at work.
Yeah.
To that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I have had men who were, you know, they're like 15 years my senior, right? And successful guys who maybe have dated very attractive women throughout their adult life, and it's like, they're just like, I just want an average girl who's nice to me. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's just my piece. That's it. Yeah. It's so funny. But like you said, you learn from your experiences and you kind of refine what you want. Is there anything you'd like to ask? Anything you'd like to in this conversation?
I don't. So, have you done like matchmaking?
Oh, I've never put two. Well, no, not as. No.
Ah, okay. So how's the mentoring going?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you know, I mainly coach women.
Okay.
And they're usually older, higher earning women, who say they can't find a man on her level.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the profile, and different variations.
Mm-hmm.
And for the guys that I coach, it's mainly about mindset, really, because the mindset about their lives will help in their dating life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of because I think we've been sold a fairy tale growing up through the films we watch, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this comes back to the whole thing of, you know, men aren't loved unconditionally. They're not chosen unconditionally.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about unlearning that and be like, look, the reality is, for the kind of woman that you want, you have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's not saying you have to be some perfect in shape guy who's got the best trimmed beard and you're earning 150k a year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you just have to show that you are a man of some kind of value to her. And even if that's just having a passion, or you are working to get that promotion in 5-10 years, whatever that is, you have a plan and goal for what you want to do.
That's very true. Yeah.
Because, you know, and they say this in the red pill space, and while I don't identify in the red pill space, I do think this is true, that, you know, women, you know, choose men on their future, based on a man's future a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what potential means, right? That's why they always want a guy who's ambitious.
Yes.
Because, I mean, ambition just means future success.
Yeah.
What else does it mean?
No, it's true.
Do you know what I mean?
True.
What's if you had a son? Do you have any kids? No. If you had a son, what is 2 things you would tell him about women before he went out into the world? And I'll say 2 things I'd tell my daughter.
Oh, I don't know. I've never thought about it.
Yeah, I'm asking you to think about it now.
Oh gosh. 2 things when looking for a woman.
Yeah, it could be like 2 things to look for, or 2 things to watch out for, or it could be a combination of the 2. Like, what would you be like? Okay, if you're going to start dating women, here's a couple of things you should know, or here's something you should look for.
I don't know. So just so many things running in my mind right now.
It doesn't have to be deep.
Why don't you go first?
Okay. I would tell my daughter, I would say, ask him what he wants his life to look like. It's really important, because if he's like, if you know you want to be in one place with a stable family, he's like, I just want to travel forever. You're not compatible.
True.
Right? Is he a guy who has a vision? You know, so asking, like, you know, what do you want for your future? It's a very good question to ask him. And the second thing I would say is just be cautious, because a lot of guys are out there just trying to have sex.
Yeah. Yes.
It's true. So just be cautious of that. That not every guy who shows you attention is doing it because he wants to get to know you. Okay.
Now I can think of one. So I think I would tell him to not just take what she says, see what she does. I think that's very. I gave this advice to some men as well who messaged me. They asked me for advice and stuff.
Yes.
And they say, oh, you know, I like this girl, but I don't know, you know, if I should go ahead and stuff. And she seems okay. She seems nice. I'm like, you need evidence these days. People can say, oh yeah,
show me them receipts.
Yeah, for real,
receipts.
Because anybody, there's loads of chameleons out there. So I'll tell my son,
yes,
you know, don't just allow your feelings. Another thing, know your nature. The fact that you can fall in love, but with the wrong person. Because the thing is, love takes work, but once you realize the person is worth it, because it could be lust and you're misconstruing it as love.
Very true.
So I'll tell him that if she's telling you things like she does this, she does that, you need evidence, because you are worth it. You only have one life to live.
Very true. And
that's not for somebody else to waste.
Yes.
I'll say that. Another thing I'll say is to invest in his passions, to focus on himself
Mhm.
for a bit, really establish himself
Yes.
for himself, and then the right person he can share his life with, or something.
Yeah, I think. Go on.
No, sorry, I was going to say, I think, when men are chasing like the whole corporate world and they have the family in mind, they push their wants and needs to the side, I think. They're like, okay, I want to buy the house. I'm going to put I don't know, he's really into illustration, like comic books or something. Like, that's just something he's into, but he keeps putting it on the back burner.
Yes.
And it's been 10 years and he
Yes.
hasn't sketched or something.
Yeah.
And I think make time to invest in what you really enjoy.
That's true.
And I think those two things I'll say.
Yeah, I hear that. I think a lot of the time those men, maybe the reason they do that is because I believe part of becoming a man is being responsible for others.
Yeah.
So when you are responsible for others, a lot of the time it's not about you. And it's not about what you want. And I think, and that goes the case, especially for men and women when you have children. Like, it's not about you anymore. It's about what is best for them, What do you think is one thing that a lot of women struggle in dating today with?
Dating.
Like, what's a common thing you keep hearing, like, your girlfriends say about dating guys today?
I think they think that they come with the initial, like, they feel like they're on a pedestal.
Who, the women or the men?
The women.
Okay.
I feel like they haven't even met the man. They haven't even met the man, but yet they feel like they're too good for him already.
Interesting.
It's really strange. And a really close relative of mine, I won't mention who it was, but a really close relative of mine, she was like, oh, I'm going to meet this guy and stuff, and he seems fine, he seems lovely, but I felt like she felt burdened to go and meet him. Because it's like she has to settle down, so she has to meet somebody who she feels she's too good for. Right. That makes sense. And I've seen that with a lot of people. Settling. Yeah, and I think people they need to get out of that. Like, women need to really, like, wake up.
So what does waking up look like? Waking
up looks like looking at the practical, rational, logical, and kind of just in terms of is my feelings overriding the facts that this person is a good person, he can provide for me. It's like, do I feel like I deserve better or something, but is he actually satisfying my needs? So that's the practical, like, yes. Not just what I want. Do I want the Chanel bag or whatever, but he has fed me the whole entire time. I've never gone hungry and I've eaten well. Yes. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
100%.
If you just make that one equation, you'll be at peace. Like, because you're being an adult. You're being like, what do I need and not what do I want? And I think women, they need to make that equation in their heads a bit more. Yeah.
No, I hear that. I think it's just realizing what's important. Yeah. Really, and gratitude is the attitude for happiness. And it happens a lot when we are acclimatized to something so good. We almost always look to the next thing. Yeah. And while I kind of appreciate that's why human beings are where they are today, because we didn't just stop somewhere. We're like, what's the next thing? What's the better thing? Right. I think there needs to be a balance. Because if you're constantly always looking for the next thing, then you can never just be content. And
that's so true. Balance in everything. Yeah. Honestly, balance in everything. Like diet, work life, everything. That's the key.
Would you call yourself a feminist?
No.
No, absolutely not?
Absolutely not.
You seem pretty vehemently against that, right?
I am vehemently against it. I am.
Interesting. Tell us why.
Well... the thing is, a lot of women will say, well, if it wasn't for feminism, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be where you are. And I think...
the rights, and that's kind of true. You wouldn't have equal rights.
The thing is... That is true. That is maybe true. But I believe that it was always the plan that you give the women a few rights initially. And then through that doorway... Yeah. A whole load of chaos will be allowed. Honestly. And I think it's happened like that.
That's so funny. What do you mean? Like, what's the chaos?
So I was trying to be really careful. So
say it with your chest.
For example, the justice system.
Yeah.
the way it's completely, and I'll go on to the next part, but the way it's completely biased against men. It's you can, and I feel like it's because of feminism. I can't.
Well, I think women have always, so like if we say the justice system, like men have always been sentenced longer than women, got harsher punishments than women, but that's always been the case though. Yeah, before women had rights even. But
now, I'll tell you something. But now it's like women can get away with living in a very modern lifestyle, right? She can be as independent as she likes, as if a man never existed or whatever. Yeah. She wants to get married, whatever, you know. They go through a divorce, and suddenly in the courtroom, we're back in 1955.
And she can't fend for herself.
She can't fend for herself. She doesn't even. She's like, oh, what is school? I've never been to school before, and I'm illiterate. So, but the thing is, because of feminism, she's like, oh yeah, just cater to the woman.
But I think that I don't think that's down to feminism. I'll tell you why. Because feminism is a modern movement. When I say modern, in regards to the last 60, 70 years,
right?
The way the courts are right now, it's always been like that. If anything, feminism it's like the one area that feminism hasn't reached yet, I would even argue.
True.
It's actually a very traditional court system.
No, I agree with you. Like I said, it goes back to 1950 1955 in the courtroom.
Yes, yeah.
What I'm saying is, why is that being allowed though? Is that the behavior of women is excused? You see this, like, before she enters the courtroom, she's like, cue Neo's Miss Independent, like, like, I don't know. The moment she goes through those courtrooms, everybody caters to her, and the fact that transition is allowed, is what I'm saying.
I guess that's down to the system it's the system's fault that power is there. Does that make sense?
True.
I'm not saying that if women, if certain women have ill intentions and want to manipulate that for their own gain, then that is one thing. But the court system allows that to happen. So that's not necessarily on the woman. It's kind of more, well, why does the court even allow that to happen?
That is true. Because, again, we're going back to the courtroom is, like, more traditional.
Yes, it is.
But why is it that it's been like that for a few years in terms of, like, feminism has existed? Why haven't we met that equal rights thing? I
agree with you, but I guess, as far as the feminist list of tasks go, trying to make it so women get less in divorce is probably not high on that list. But look how devastating it is. It's not on high on their list because it serves them more. Yeah, it serves them the best, actually. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, because a lot of women start up businesses, with like these funds that come from, I'm a self-made whatever. She got those funds for her business from taking half from her husband. That's what I'm saying. Maybe, yeah. So that I think that's a very important thing to kind of explore. And something else that I completely forgot what I was going to say. How do you think do you think feminism plays into dating a lot between men and women? That's another thing I was going to say about this, like, men are all trash culture. Oh yeah. And like, oh, you're a queen and stuff like. I'm sorry. I know I hope we're moving away from that talk. No, go for it. But this ridiculous thing, like I know when people say that women are born with value, I think women immediately think that they're the Queen of Sheba. And things like that. Some do. Some do, but like, it's this culture is what I'm saying. It's forming into some solidified thing that you can feel in the air. Like these women just think they're just really self-entitled, they're entitled. Not all of them, obviously, because I'm a woman myself. Exactly. Duh. But and I think I just think in the dating world and everything, it's just, I don't know. Do you think a lot of I almost feel like the like, when I say feminism or kind of modern practice, we almost use that when we're young and we want to explore, and then when we get older, suddenly we become very traditional. Yeah. I'd even say that for, would I say that for guys? I'd even say that for the guys to a certain extent, as in, they may want a woman who is, not out there shaking her ass or like, being out here in these streets, as they would say. But when they're younger, guys will indulge in those kind of women all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I guess, I don't know, I guess maybe there's less of a consequence for men to do that than women, which is maybe not a nice reality that maybe could change. I don't know.
Yeah, but if it is reality, you can't change it. Like if it's biology, you cannot change that. Because I don't know if you know this, but
Go on.
But I am like pro polygyny for men, obviously for men.
Interesting. Say more.
Okay. And I mean, I've gotten a lot of hate messages for this and everything by women telling me I'm a pick-me, telling me I'm insecure, and I can see where they're coming from.
Right.
But actually, they think that because I am okay with my husband having multiple wives, by the way, so it's not cheating necessarily.
Sure.
And having multiple wives, that means I think I am less than. Does that make sense? So they call me insecure. But what's insecure is that if you're not living in reality, think that you are the only one who can satisfy your husband forever. And I'm sorry, but that just plainly isn't true. Yes, it can be for some in terms of men who choose to be monogamous. Sure. Right? But in my humble opinion, I think it's like you're just surviving. You're not thriving. Because men have higher sex drives. And what's funny is that people are actually polygynous, but they don't know. Like as in being with multiple partners. Let's just say you were with somebody, right? Yeah. You hooked up with them on a Monday, and you ended up hooking up with somebody on a Wednesday. That technically is polygynous.
That is true. So we're more polygynous than we realize then. Yes,
but the thing is, what I'm saying is, but polygyny in terms of a proper secure family structure, where there's I don't want to use the word marriage, but because of the origin,
there's a level of commitment.
There's a true union there, and it's a true commitment, and that's so important for children. Because look at me, baby mamas, baby dads and stuff. It's so unfair on the children, and this is a generational thing. You're just cementing for the next generation.
I agree.
To screw up. Yeah. If they see like mommy and like mum, my mum has a father and another child, everyone knows who the father is.
Very true.
Head of the house.
Yes.
And all the women are happy, they're helping each other and things like that, which can be achievable with the right character of the man and the women.
Sure.
So that is such a healthy environment for children. It's the best scenario for children born out of what could have been wedlock.
Yeah. So what would you... Well, so I just want to make it clear, you used to agree with polygyny in the sense of him having multiple wives as opposed to having one wife and then he can have his escapades as and when.
No. So just wives.
Just wives.
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially any woman that he's involved with, there is a level of commitment there.
It has to be. Because the thing is, funnily enough, for women who think like, oh, she's insecure, like I get hate messages from women, but it is for the benefit of women. Right.
Interesting, yeah.
So that the fact that you are not you are made a wife, not like a side chick or things like that. Yes. Your child has a mother and father on a true commitment union. That is a household.
Yeah.
And it's just more messy without polygyny there.
What would you? It's more messy without polygyny.
Yeah.
So you think one husband and one wife in a household is more messy?
No. The thing is, like, if we address the sexual nature of men, it's not a bad thing. Men were created that way, I
You're speaking to my male ego here. I'm trying to, but you carry on.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it's very unfair and it's unjust and it's even cruel to make men feel like they're some sort of creatures or beasts or something like that. No, they're sexual beings, as women are, but differently or different levels.
I hear that.
Higher sex drive, wanting to spread their seeds, completely normal. But it's made into he's only after one thing. Well, actually, no, marriage is a true commitment. In terms of bringing children into this world is a true commitment.
Yes.
Why don't we have all these things like I want my child to be in a loving home where mother and father and the child knows that my parents are committed to each other.
But I guess the argument that people could say is that well, it's better for him to be monogamous because that creates a stronger foundation for that union you just described.
For what union?
As in the sense of the kids go, my mother and father are together and it's only them.
That's what I'm saying. So okay, let's just say he has his first marriage, right? So let's just say he never wanted to be polygynous, right? He was just like, you're my only one, whatever. And then he's monogamous and there's children born in that. But then because of his sexual drive, let's just say she's on a period. He needs to be intimate.
Yeah.
And I think men suppressing it, I think that's wrong.
Well, I think a lot of the time when you suppress something, it just manifests itself in other ways. So it's very common. Like there are a lot of married men who they don't have sex at home, but they're like addicted to porn. That's a very big one.
Exactly. That's something else that we should address as well. But what I'm saying is, if a child, because of that, right, because of the woman, actually, there's another reason. What if the woman says, I only want 2 children? Yeah. And he's stuck there. How emasculating is that for the man?
Well, I guess that's something you would talk about before you get married.
But what if she lied? What if she's like, I want as many children as possible. I want to be a baby machine. I want my own football team. You know, they say that crap. Yeah. But when you go through childbirth, let's just say, sometimes it can be beautiful. Sometimes it can be very traumatic, depending on the person. Yeah. She goes, I only want 2. Now he's stuck.
Okay. I agree with you. But let's flip it. What if she has 2 and he lied, saying that he could have 3 or 4, and she was like that? But now he's like, I don't want another one because I think they're too expensive. Can she go out and get a husband? Another one?
If she wants another, that is true.
She's stuck there, right?
That is true. But men have a stronger desire to spread their seed more than women. Well, more than women to have children.
Even though I wouldn't disagree with that, if a woman wants more kids and he doesn't, in that situation, what would you tell her to do?
I'll tell it. This might sound lame.
Go for it.
But focus on your 2 children and indulge in your hobbies. Distract.
Why wouldn't you tell the man that in the same situation?
Because they're not biologically the same.
The thing is, I agree with you, right? I agree with you. We are animals at the end of the day, right? So there is a level of biological instinct that we have, but we are not dictated by our primal instincts. So just because it's in a man's nature to maybe spread his seed, that doesn't mean that he should behave in that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. There is some sort of control. But it's like, if I'm hungry, you know when they say, I'm so hungry I want to eat a horse.
Yeah.
Am I going to go out there?
Yeah, I'm going to walk a horse.
Oh my God. Am I going to go out there, like, rip your fridge apart and everything? No, I'm going to go in there civilized.
Yep.
Take what I need, and then that's it. There's a way of doing things.
I hear that.
And catering to our primal desires and needs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I hear that. You said you wanted to talk about, what did you want to talk about just then? You said there was something you wanted to address.
Sorry, I forgot. I think we're talking so much. It just goes.
I love it. Okay, well, if it comes back to any of us, we can come to it. So, look, do you think it's harder to get commitment today?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Fulfilling relationships. How do you think we can, because it can feel like a battlefield for men and women in the dating space. And it's just funny because actually we want each other. Yeah. Right? Men want women, women want men. Women are like, none of you want to commit, you're all trash. Men are like, you're not traditional, you don't deserve commitment.
Yeah.
How can we get to a point where we meet in the middle? Because ultimately that is where everybody wants.
Yes.
What do you think is the best way forward for us to do that?
I think one of the ways is to remember that, like, if I'm looking at you as a man, that you are a human.
Yeah.
And if a man's looking at a woman, that we're a human. So I think we separate ourselves too much in men, women. And people get carried away with, I need to get into my masculine energy when I'm in the court, like when I'm in the meeting, like for women. And then when I'm on a date, feminine energy, switch. I think that is, yes, there's truth to feminine and masculine energy. Yes. But as our generation today, I'm sorry, but they're a bit too, I don't think they're wise enough to kind of comprehend that. I think what they need to really focus on if they want to be successful is the human part. Like, think of like men, as human beings, and men think of women as human beings. Does that mean like a human connection? Yeah. Do the human thing. What would be the human way to behave?
No matter how tall he is.
No matter how tall he is, yes.
I hear that.
But in terms of like character, manners, like, I think that's really, we've lost that. Words like honor, class, things like that. I think we need to bring that back sincerely if people really want to have, healthy, successful futures with the other sex.
What's if you were single, what's a deal breaker for you in a man aside from deep conversations and height?
Okay.
Or rather, lack of in both.
If he has a like, I don't know. I don't know if I can say it.
Yes, you can.
If he's vaccinated.
If he's vaccinated.
Yes.
Interesting.
If he's vaccinated.
This is the conspiracy.
I'm being completely honest here. Yeah, if he's vaccinated.
What if he had to do that for work?
Nobody has to do anything. Like, what's the point of working? Like, what's the point of getting the job so you can work when you probably be dropped dead tomorrow?
Well, I guess most people wouldn't know that. They didn't know that about the vaccine, if they thought that.
But if you're an adult, you have to look into it before you make that commitment. Like buying a car, you want to just buy any car outside. That to me shows that he didn't do his due diligence and stuff. Why?
I hear that. Okay, but have you ever taken medicine?
When I was younger, yes.
You've never taken medicine recently?
No.
Well, in your adult life?
In my adult life...
You ever take ibuprofen?
No, actually for a long time I haven't. Only my teens for period pains. But then I got off those.
Okay. So you haven't taken any sort of medication?
No, I haven't.
Interesting. Well, hey, she stands by what she preaches.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I myself have implemented these things. I will never share it with other people if I genuinely do believe them.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I know that's...
Don't be sorry. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
So,
we love it.
Oh, that's one thing. And also if he's rude to like waiters and things like that.
Yeah.
I know it seems like a very just takes a second or you're in the restaurant or something, but that says billion things to me.
Of course.
Manners. Yeah.
Manners. Yeah. I think in that scenario, they say if you want to test a man's character, you give him power.
Yes.
Because, not that anyone who lives on the street is a horrible person, but they have everything to gain by being nice and kind to you because they want something.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, if you know that being nice to this person will not serve you in any way, and it does take an effort to be kind, to be nice. I think that's a test for someone's character. I want to talk about one thing before we wrap up. How do you think that we as a society have a good relationship with sex? Or what do you think about our relationship with sex?
Oh no. No.
Go on.
No, I don't. Like even going back to the polygyny thing, I think like even it's making men just like, oh, they're just predators, like they just want sex and things like that. And then women are just throwing themselves here and there from what I've seen, and it's this culture. It does
happen.
And it's just like, it's very strange, to make men think, to portray men as like predators, right, who are just thinking about sex all the time. When it appears that women cheat actually just as much as men.
Statistically, that is true.
Statistically is what I'm talking about.
Just like, I think men is 28%, women is 24%. I think that was the most recent stat I saw. So no,
I saw it's kind of like very similar. So I mean, I mean that's really unhealthy. I think to just give it away like that, just hookup culture, right? That's what it's called.
Very true, hookup culture.
And I think women are being naive to actually know what that means. The bonding with the partner when the person that you're being intimate with is such a serious thing. Yeah. That connection, that bond.
Yes.
And I think that if it's with sexual liberation and everything like that, women think that they'll be liberated through this, when actually it can be very traumatic for them.
Yeah.
Once they latch on to the guy, and the guy was like, "Hey, no strings attached, right?" And she's like, "What?" It's because she didn't.
She's like emotionally starved.
She's emotionally she's so attached to this person.
Yeah.
And now she can't understand why he doesn't want to be with her, even though initially they were both.
Okay with it.
Yeah, okay with it. Again, she didn't really pay attention to her human nature, right? She didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And think, do I really want to get involved, knowing what the consequences?
Yeah, I think women can. There's a hoe phase, right? That some women go through, right? And we can talk about that. But I don't think it's impossible for women to be like, oh, I just want to have fun, right? I think that happens. I just think doing it for a long extended period of time, I don't think makes most women happy. No. But at the same time, there's like a narrative to encourage women to do that and say that they'll be empowered. And listen, each to their own. If that makes you feel good, it makes you feel good. But just from most that I've talked to and seen, they'd rather have someone they love and respect and share that intimacy with that one person. Yeah. Again, it's like we're living in this very instant gratification. Yeah, instant gratification, and just like, oh yeah, it makes me happy now, but then
It goes, and you're forced to go back to that pattern of hooking up with next person, new person, butterflies and things like that, but the same outcome over and over and over and over and over again. And you know, saying if you do something over and over again, I mean, that's insanity, and expecting different results. Just because it's a different person, but it goes back down to your human nature. What happens? You know, a guy's very like clear, like, okay, this is just no strings attached, right? But the woman is more sensitive, and she undermined that about her.
I think that it's I think women don't realize the amount of power that they have over men when it comes to not just sex but just being a woman, and that understanding that power and using it, knowing how to use it, then inevitably you're going to have and find what you want, you know. You know, one of my mentors said this to me, and I think it's so true, that men are strong but women are powerful, you know, like wars have been fought over a woman. Do you know what I mean? Men have given their lives for a woman. Do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, it's funny because of the way how many men really don't have any opportunities. It's only the top guys that get the opportunities with most women, and a lot of women feel like they don't they can't lock that guy they want down. Right? It's like he just doesn't want to settle down or be serious. And it's like, well, if you keep choosing men, if you get, like you said, if you keep choosing men for the same reasons and you're not getting the result you want, then maybe you need to start choosing for something else. You know. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up before we wrap?
So have you ever encouraged your mentees or explored your mentees not using social media for dating purposes?
Like dating apps and social media? Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have, because I was having a conversation with a female friend, and we were talking about dating, and she was like, you know, I feel like she would go on a date, and if she didn't feel the immediate spark, she'd be like, oh, I don't feel it there, so I'm going on a date with a different guy, right? And especially as a woman, if you're an attractive woman especially, like, you can open your phone, you've got 15 new matches, 15 new options. And I was like, okay, but how can you expect to build something real when you don't really give it the chance? And she was like, oh, there should be this app where you can only match with someone once every couple of months, so you give people a chance. I was like, well, you could just implement that yourself, just delete the dating apps.
Right.
So I think I have suggested only to a few, because the abundance mindset means that we can not give enough of an opportunity to somebody who could be good for us. Because the thing is, there's some people who would be amazing partners, but they're terrible daters. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not the best at the initial impression, but actually they're actually really lovely, great people. And the couple of clients that I'm thinking about in particular, if I said, okay, you can't use dating apps for the next 3 months, right? So anyone you meet, right, and any dates you go on, it's going to happen. You're going to meet them organically. Because there was perceived way less options, right? One, they were more open and susceptible to being asked out by a guy. And two, if they went on a date with a guy, they started to look for qualities. They started to look for different kinds of qualities, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm going on a date with this guy because he's tall and attractive. So they're not comparing the tall and attractive guy to the guy who's maybe average but has qualities that she would actually want. So yeah, I think if you feel there's too much abundance, delete the apps.
Very true. But I think people are addicted.
They are very addictive.
They are addicted. I know somebody personally. Yes. Oh my God. I had to like bust open her room and just like, get off the because she was just like, just constantly, just like a vegetable.
Yes.
And you know, the irony is like that state is not very attractive.
No.
When you are hunting and you're meant to be your utmost, attractiveness.
Sure.
Yeah, the actual state that you are fishing.
Yes.
Is very ugly. I'm sorry, because the thing is, you're becoming a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's like, are you really looking for that human connection? Are you looking for a relationship, or is this the dating app is like another game?
Yeah. And a lot of people say it feels like a part-time job.
Oh God.
Do you know what I mean?
That's mental.
And
That is
like,
mental.
And it's like the investment. Like, what's the return that you're getting? Are you getting the return that you want?
That's true. That's true. And I think, have you ever like experienced when people don't read bios, or their bio is like one line?
Yeah.
Or like somebody who actually took time to write a long, detailed,
That's a lot.
and then the person asks you like, so what are you into? But yet you put it in your bio or something like that. What do you do in your free time?
True.
I put it in my bio.
Yeah.
It shows that they don't really read or care.
I've had it where
that puts me off.
I've had it where because I've dabbled in dating apps. I've had it where like we were matched with a girl and I made a really fun query or joke about something in her bio. She was like, what? And I was like, but you said. She goes, oh yeah, like yeah.
Oh, that was a good test.
I was like, okay, and it wasn't even a test, but it's just like you're
gonna
say something interesting that's specific to that person, but then if they're not even aware, then it's like we do.
So
we do. Have you ever been on dating apps?
I haven't been on a date app, but I did online dating years and years ago.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, back when I was 21.
How was that?
Yeah, it was. Again, I paid attention. I was very detailed. But then
very specific.
I actually got messages saying that, oh my god, like your bio is the best out of all the ones I've seen online.
Oh.
And I only because I took the time.
Yes.
To really just like make it. I said put a few jokes in there because they need to get a flavor of my. It's just a screen. Like it's not me as a person. They need to get the best.
I hear that.
Enough to make a commitment to message.
Yeah.
Right.
But if a guy messages you, it's not because you had a great bio. You know that.
Oh no, but this one didn't have pictures. Yeah.
Oh,
so it's just
the online dating thing.
Yeah.
What's it called? I should tell people to go on that.
Pure matrimony.
Pure matrimony.
Yeah.
And there's no pictures.
There is pictures, but like but it's blurred. So you have to really like the person, and then you get access to their pictures.
Everyone's like, okay, how does this person look? Do they look tall? Do they have?
I know. It's like looking through a frosted glass. Yeah. But I think it's good. However,
I think that is good.
However, I think it's more important that you are attracted to the person.
It's true.
Establish that first, especially like imagine you're talking to someone on the phone and you're having a great time, and then you meet the person and you like it goes south.
You get a picture of them in your head.
That's the worst.
And it's completely different. You're like, oh, that's not what I expected.
That's the worst. So don't do that to yourself, guys. Don't get carried away.
But how? So in that situation, how would you stop that from happening? Because let's say you match with someone, you're talking to them on the phone for like a couple of weeks. Like
I would make sure they know what I look like ASAP.
Oh,
before they catch the feelings, because like I said, it gets messy.
Okay, I see.
Gets messy.
I see what you're saying.
So attraction, obviously, initial attraction is very important.
Yes.
However, if the person is like average, not like a completely no like a deal breaker.
Yeah.
If there's some potential there, give it some room.
Yes.
And get to know the person, and then once actually you get to have that connection, they might be the most beautiful person in the world.
That's a good point.
Because you're in love with the character.
That's true.
So yeah.
That's true. I hear that. Listen, Shahara, it's been amazing.
No, thank you for having me, Kit. It's been lovely.
Coming to us on your Sunday. Where can we find you online if people want to follow you?
I have an Instagram, Shahara_Isla, ISLA.
Perfect.
And I message back to everyone. I reply all to my DMs.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I
hope
you had some great golden nuggets in there. Thank you for coming. And guys, thank you for tuning in. And I will see you in the next video.